for a handsome man, officer, with your mustache and your chiseled jaw and that silly dimple on your chin. But dear, you're not for me. I'm too old and too married besides.
In another time and place, she might have flirted back, but that ship sailed long ago.
You must forgive me. I'm getting so scatterbrained. I completely forgot to introduce myself. I'm Lena. My husband Morel and I are staying with our friend Gary just down the street, but I come here for tea when they're away.
This Lena is wacky enough for the motley crew. Hire her on the spot.
Yes, officer. You look rather dazed. Like a stunned fox. But surely things can't be that bad.
She won't judge you, no matter what you say.
Oh my. You know where we are, right? That's right. And where is the Whirling in Rags cafeteria itself located? Yes, indeed. We are in the fine city of Revachol. Yes, great. See? We're getting somewhere. What else do you know about our city of splendor? Tattered as she may be. The new disco dancing. It seems like a lifetime ago. Much has changed, but it is still the most beautiful city in the world. A rare jewel set in the sand between the pines. Everyone says so, even foreigners. Speaking of history, you know what year it is, yes? That's right, dear. How splendid. Here, take this pen. Knowledge should always be rewarded.
Her relief is palpable. She was getting pretty worried about you there, but now she relaxes her shoulders. Outside, the melting snow seeps into the cracks in the walls and the cobblestone streets, all the way down into the sewers. Above ground, the first maybells blossom. You can feel it, a great cold. Then the shiver passes.
I can tell that this is taxing for you, so I'll just ask one more question. What regime are we living under? What mode of government? Oh, no. Nothing like that, dear. Revachol is a zone of control led by an alliance of foreign powers called the Coalition. We have almost no government of our own, and certainly no matriarchy.
She's trying to avoid the foreigner's part. This is because she's a woman. She may be lying to you.
Oh, dear. And you were doing so well. There aren't any cops in Revachol, not in the traditional sense. The Status of law enforcement has been a complicated matter since the revolution. But we should stop for today, sweetie. You look like you need a break. Besides, I'm not the best person to explain the big things to anyone.
She's scared now. She's realized you really are brain damaged.
A defeat, I'm afraid. The people of this archipelago tried to build something new, something different. The rest of the world didn't like it, so they came and ended it. This was 42 years ago. It has something to do with everything. I really don't know how to explain it better.
I'm just a poor woman, she thinks. What do I know of these things? And how can I help you?
You were doing quite well up until the end there. It does look like you're having trouble remembering things. History and places. Remembering reality in a word. It's very odd.
A sigh. The lieutenant buries his nose in his notebook.
But maybe a fresh set of eyes is what the world needs. And while I'm no doctor, such bouts of amnesia are...
She means this sincerely. Worrying won't do you any good.
Someone more educated in sweeping matters. Maybe you should ask...
No, I'm not an encyclopedia. I won't be a guide either. I'm a detective.
Of course. Then I don't know. Someone rich, maybe? Wealthy people are educated. Though I don't know where you would find a wealthy person in Martinez.
That's a good point. This doesn't look like Rich Central.
Oh, sweetie, I heard your conversation with the manager about your financial troubles. When do you get your next paycheck?
If she could, this woman would feed and clothe you and every other sad, lost person on this earth. You've got guns of steel and a chiseled jaw somewhere under the bloated alcohol layer. Maybe she'd like to sponsor you. Your deportment remains dignified as you shed a single manly tear.
Sweetie, I only have a few cents on me, but I could give you this to pawn, just to tide you over.
Wonderful. He has a pin.
The pin is round and slightly tarnished. 3 sailboats in bas-relief with the sun hovering over the water behind them. A chipped green banner at the bottom reads, San Baptiste, Summer 31, Dinghy Races. The Saint Baptiste dinghy races were conceived as a biennial civic pride celebration and cash cow, but only took place twice, in 31 and 33. The 31 races are the subject of fond reminiscence. Those who were there will tell you of sun-drenched bleachers, pink bubbly, and bronze-legged studs in white shorts. The 33 races, on the other hand, were plagued by controversy over performance enhancers and very cold rain. After 2 local champions were stripped of their titles, the city decided not to hold the event again. You could totally sell this pin for cash.
It's easy. You bring a valuable item to a pawnbroker, who then gives you money for it. You can get it back later for a slightly larger sum if it hasn't been sold, but you never end up doing that anyway. Cross the plaza and follow the road along the coast. Down by the water, there'll be a shack nestled against an old stone facade. That's the pawn shop. An old friend of my husband's goes there often. He says the owner is quite helpful. You're quite welcome, dear. Whatever do you mean? Sequence killers? Oh my. But I think you already have a partner, sweetie.
A partner who'll need you to help him get a corpse down from a tree. I can assure you with absolute certainty, there are no sequence killings taking place in Martinez.
Now, gentlemen, no need to squabble. I wouldn't be of much use to you anyway, sweetie. Thank you, but Martinez isn't the most wheelchair-accessible place, you see. I'd slow you down. Perhaps another time. Yes, dear. I'm a paraplegic.
A paraplegic is someone with limited or no ability to use the lower half of their body. Paraplegia is caused by spinal cord injuries, like falling from a great height, or a grenade explosion.
No, dear. I'm not quite that old, although I was injured in the line of duty. Nothing so extravagant, dear. Though what young girl doesn't dream of soaring over a crowd? I was a training and development manager at a rapidly expanding mail-order shoe company. You'd think it would be a safe job, but I had to be everywhere, and, well, once I happened to be under some faulty scaffolding. I was lucky. This was almost 20 years ago, and I was compensated exceptionally well. One can only dream of such payoffs nowadays. That's quite all right. I'm used to people asking questions. I know they're thinking about it anyway.
There is no bitterness in her voice. She accepted the curiosity her condition inspires a long time ago.
Of course, dear. Good luck with your case.
An old call box with a matrix of push buttons lists all the companies in the East Delta Commerce Center. An off-key melody starts playing after you ring the doorbell. Then a woman picks up the receiver.
Kuno, please stop calling here. Grown-ups don't have time for your stupid games. Oh, I'm sorry, officer. I thought you were... But the doorbell is broken, and the bookstore shouldn't even be on the list anymore, so I can't help you. Please don't call here again. Thanks.
A single beep indicates that the line has gone dead. You hear the same waiting room music, but no one picks up the receiver anymore. You ring the doorbell, but no one answers. What an ominous name for a hair salon. Doesn't bode well for anyone's hair. Just seeing the words Andro Orlando gets your hackles up. If the existence is a threat to your masculinity, to say nothing of your hair. All you hear is static, but no one answers the call. You ring the doorbell, but nothing happens. Try again. You didn't press it hard enough.
Thank you for calling the 24-hour window company. This is an automated message. Are you experiencing a window-related emergency? During non-business hours, please call 00725 477 651. The streets are mean, but we're always there for you.
That's only half true. The streets are mean, but they're not there for you.
No, not a window-related one.
12 name cards on the call box read. You wait for a minute or two, but all you get from the call box is silence. No one answers the call. Looks like someone has melted half the plastic off with a lighter. The doorbell doesn't work anymore. You hear static from the intercom speaker. It sounds as if someone has picked up the receiver but isn't saying anything. You can almost hear them breathe.
Yes, hello. This is Tricentennial Electrics. Have you come to place an order?
She sounds almost antique, as if her voice was being played off an old wax cylinder. A receiver must not be working properly. Wait, but what happened to Slipstream SCA? There's no Tricentennial Electrics on the list.
My God.
The lieutenant exchanges a look with you.
It's you. My God. I didn't think I would hear your voice again.
It's a woman, and she knows you. Your heart beats faster. She must be mistaking you for someone else. Who cares that you don't remember her? Just go along with it. No, something's wrong here. Are you sure she's talking to you?
Michelle, just please.
Sounds like a ghost. Wind blows through your clothes and you feel detached from your surroundings. Inside the building, a cold memory hangs.
Why did you even call? I don't understand. You've been gone for months. I thought you didn't care. Ever since I came to work here, it's been different. As if my mind's been wiped clean.
A spot of static overrides her words. When she speaks again, it sounds like she's submerged.
It's so nice. It's so nice to be able to finally forget.
She sounds like she's about to cry. The cold is deep under your skin, as if you were talking to someone who's 100 years away. Somewhere inside the building, water is flooding the cellar floor. She doesn't answer. Silence. The only thing you can hear now is static and waves washing ashore on the bay. Another seagull passes by. It's getting cold standing here, staring at the silent call box.
It must have been some kind of faulty wiring. We should maybe stop playing with this doorbell. It looks ancient.
You press the number sign on the keypad that terminates the call. 12 name cards on the call box read. Whatever she says, it can't hurt you. You're a different person now. Stronger, healthier, and... alright, maybe not healthier, but it's a bonus that you've drunk so hard you can't remember any of your past relationships. Oblivion's the ace in your corner. There's a light buzz as you press the doorbell, waiting for her to answer the call. It's cold outside, and you can hear the wind blowing into the speaker. A strange metallic taste fills your mouth as you stare at the intercom. There's the static again. whispering like a seashell pressed against the air.
Yes, hello. This is Tricentennial Electrics. Have you come to place an order? My God.
Here come the bad vibes again. Relax. Distance yourself from it.
It's you. My God. I didn't think I would hear your voice again.
Wait, is she...
Michelle, just please. Why did you even call? I don't understand. You've been gone for months. I thought you didn't care.
Is this some kind of joke? The voice from the intercom doesn't answer, but you can hear her breathing. Wind blows into your microphone again, crackling and echoing in the box. Your hands are getting cold and your breathing becomes visible, forming small silvery puffs in the air.
Ever since I came to work here, it's been different. As if my mind's been wiped clean. It's so nice. It's so nice to be able to finally forget about you.
And then it hits you. She tries again not to cry, and still doesn't succeed completely. Her quiet sobs sound old and distant, as if her voice is being played off a wax cylinder. Real or not, your mirror neurons react. It feels painful to be listening to this. Anger boils up in your chest. Her sound melts into the static from a long-distance phone call. From time to time, you can hear people talking in the distance, but can't make out any words. This is where you hung up the call the last time, but the recording is still going. A phone rings in the office with an old-fashioned chime, and someone walks by in a pair of heels. The static is like a warm blanket wrapped around the sounds. No one replies, but the static grows stronger like rainfall. Then a female voice speaks out, completely different from the one before. Glorious and total somehow, crawling inside your head.
For 300 years I have been here, volatile and luminous, made of sodium and rain. If you want me, you can find me on the beach. Dans un bal.
So... It was a recording trapped in the circuitry from some ancient tenant. This sometimes happens. Shall we conclude here? We have other mysteries to solve. Don't take this the wrong way, but during our short stint working together, something weird is almost always happening to you.
That is true. Silence. Silence. No one answers the doorbell. Nothing happens after you ring the doorbell. They don't want to talk to you. You're going to just stand there and take it from a doorbell? Like a cat's whiskers, your moustache feels it first, followed by your lips. The corroded metal of the intercom, cold, unattainable. Now you're kissing the doorbell. The doorbell remains silent. When was the last time you kissed?
That's unsanitary.
Silence. No one answers your call. This button looks new, but someone has removed the name card. Nothing happens when you try to ring it.
Huh. This button looks new. It's probably not connected yet.
You see a set of tire tracks in the brown slush that covers the plaza mosaic. Cop habit. You look at everything. This isn't case-related, you think. Hard to say. Your vision is blurred and you're having difficulty concentrating thanks to your relentless hangover. No, these tracks are not interesting at all. Let the street sweeper just sweep them away. You see a set of tire tracks in the brown slush that covers the plaza mosaic. You see a set of tire tracks in the brown slush that covers the plaza mosaic. An inconspicuous pile of the roofing material, Eternite. It's nothing. Someone just left some roofing material slanted against an old shack. Glad you asked. When junior researcher Olari Tal invented Eternite in the Vartna Polytechnic Institute some 30-odd years ago, he thought it would last forever. Hence the name, Eternite. Sadly, the only lasting thing turned out to be the material's highly carcinogenic effect. Because there's a secret door hidden behind the panels of Eternite. That's why they're too orderly. There it is. You see a shabby little door.
What is this then? A tool shed? Let's investigate.
Be still, my beating heart. It's amphetamine, sweet amphetamine. The lieutenant isn't studying the powder in the mirror. He's studying you. There's a good vague way to ask where he stands on drug use. Professionally, I mean.
Perhaps not. This is below our pay grade, detective. However, see that ladder there? It's probably another way into the industrial harbor, no? A secret path the local kids use.
like someone left his tarpaulin cloak hanging on the railing here. Man down, a trooper has been left behind the enemy lines. You could swear it's more of an instinct than anything else, but you know it's a cop's cloak.
Yes, it's probably yours. It bears the RCM insignia, and you have a habit of being careless with your equipment. You could probably make the jump. You look like you've done some track and field in your day.
The wind is aggressive up here. The lieutenant looks at the enormous crane towering in the distance over the container yard. The look in his eyes is a mix of the engineer-like interest and the wonder of a 6-year-old seeing a horse for the first time. That machine is a Kvalsund 1020 HK.
Is it? Kvalsund makes a lot of heavy equipment, but this is phenomenal, even for them. But I digress. We were focusing on your cloak here. What are we doing? We're awfully close to breaking into the industrial harbor. They are bound to have information for us. I thought that was our intention. Or it could be that we are just exploring.
He's thinking you've forgotten where you are again.
The cloak? I do think it's yours, yes. As to whether you should go for it? Well, it doesn't seem too dangerous. 2-meter stops? Whenever you're ready to do it, I'll be right behind you.
The cloak looks like a bag of goodies floating in the wind. Who knows what its pockets may hide? The tarpaulin cloak with possible RCM markings is still caught on the railing. As you leap in the air, a chilly breeze engulfs you, sharpening your senses. As the concrete floor welcomes you, you realize it's been a while since you felt so alive, alert, capable. Must be the adrenaline.
I knew you could do it. My climbing down might not have been as disco as your jump, but at least we can explore the harbor now.
With your feet firmly planted on the concrete, the noise of the harbor rushes back in. On second glance, someone has forgotten to properly close one of the drawers.
It's unfortunate for the Union to just leave their paperwork lying around like this.
Let's see what's inside, he thinks. The drawer opens smoothly. Inside is a well-organized selection of brown folders. Hundreds of documents containing logistical data. Two kinds of transactions stand out. Materials coming into Revachol from the outside world, from Muindi, Grad, and even Ilmara. And the same materials being handed over to companies inside Revachol, Kuron, Coal City, La Delta, and Jamrock are listed among the many districts where the imports are being sold. It's hard to make sense of this thicket of company names, dates, quantities, and percentages. You try to focus, but the lines are getting blurry. Whatever's hidden here is hidden well. Concentration isn't enough. Only a trained accountant with a background in logistics would be able to really make sense of it. However, there is a little handwritten note stuck on the side of the drawer. It appears to be a to-do list written in large, uneven capital letters. Remember, Leo, Everard's shoes, special whirling borscht, water Everard's plants, sweep office floor, more banners. All items on the list have been crossed out and the note itself is crumpled.
Everard Clare, probably. The head of the Debarders Union. One of his aides must have left it. Nothing incriminating here.
The special borscht seems a bit odd in the list. What is so special about this borscht? Code for drugs? Booze? Blood? Remember, Leo, Everard's shoes, special whirling borscht, water Everard's plants, sweep office floor. All items on the list have been crossed out and the note itself is crumpled. The drawer slides shut smoothly. An imposing combination of a punch clock and a payphone is looking down at you from the wall. A note on the side says, "Tokens unavailable due to strike. Use change." The machine swallows your coin and seems to be waiting for your next move. Your fingers run over the dial pad. 005. That's the dialing code for Revachol. 4952. And a moment of hesitation before entering the final numbers. 993. Calling. Calling. Still calling. Then.
Video Revachol, 24-hour video rental. We rent 8 and 10mm film for home use. This is Lamy. How may I help you?
The voice of a youngster on the other end sounds as enthusiastic as that of a man walking towards the gallows.
Video Revachol is a 24-hour video rental. We rent 8 and 10mm film for home use. This is Lamy. No. Sir, I don't know. It's a video rental. Maybe you rent videos here. Maybe you called to extend your rental period? Do you need to extend your rental period? If you need any further assistance, you can visit us on the corner of Voyager and Main. I can't help you over the phone. Are we done?
He thinks you're pulling a prank on him. On the corner of Voyager and Main, a large neon sign hangs on the side of a building. Video Revachol, 24 hours. It's raining and there is almost no traffic on the street. A woman's footprints in the mud lead away from the front door. Tiny heels tiptoeing down the road. Beautiful steps, light-footed with a lifetime ahead of them. You look up and the air seems to grow darker. Suddenly, you feel like you don't want to hear about video rentals anymore. You don't want to hear about any of it. It was all shit. It's over.
That's enough for you today. Let's conclude this call.
The front of this quarterly journal features a large satirical portrait of the late King Friesel. From the sides of his head, a pair of white antlers spread to the corners of the cover. To your disappointment, there aren't any full-color pictures to direct your attention. Just column after column of closely set text, interrupted occasionally by little doodles in black and white. No advertisements, you notice. So who's funding this radical commentary? After rifling the pages with your thumb several times, you return to the table of contents. The magazine is divided into several sections: international developments, Kunst und Kultur, and local concerns. Just inside the cover, there's also an editor's note. Comrade, as you know, this journal takes its name from Mazov's immortal expression, du cristal à la fumée. This was his way of describing the way the rigid, crystalline structures of capitalist ideology turned to smoke under communism. But, like the structures of capitalist ideology, we too are at risk of going à la fumée, unlike many publications which are content to spoon-feed their readers reassuring drivel. La Fumée is committed to telling the radical truth, even when that truth may drive away potential subscribers. Perhaps they've overestimated the market demand for this kind of commentary. So please, if you value our radical Mazovian perspective on contemporary politics, culture, and international affairs, please consider subscribing today. Yours in struggle, the editors.
What do you expect? It was laying around the office of the Debarders Union. They're probably bankrolling the thing.
You flip back to the front of the magazine. The table of contents unfolds before you. This section includes a long, tedious critique of the latest round of free trade negotiations between the EPIS nations and the Free State of Semenine. You also skip over an article about heavy fuel oil smuggling along the Messina border, something about bear wrestling in Samara, book riots in Yugograd. Whoa, whoa, whoa. Bear wrestling. Flip back to that. It seems to be part of a new public fitness initiative in the People's Republic of Samara, SRV, devised and promoted by none other than President Kanajinsky himself. According to this extremely credulous account, Uncle Sport, as he's affectionately known to his people, has recently decreed bear wrestling the national sport of the SRV. Based on the description in this article, he appears to be an extremely competent and democratically elected president. Sapormat Sport Kelezinski is well into his third decade as president of the SRV. Outside Samara, he's known for three things: brutal repression of internal dissent, monumental corruption, and a near pathological obsession with physical fitness. Don't forget the mustache. Right, like all Samaran men above the age of 40, President Kelezinski wears a truly spectacular walrus mustache. It's quite straightforward. A standard match features one man, or in some cases woman, against one bear. Two competitors, one ring, 5 rounds, or until incapacitation. According to the SRV's Ministry of Information, the program has been a tremendous success. Public support stands at 87%, and youth obesity and alcoholism rates are down 12% and 7% respectively. That's very much the idea. President Kelezinski has long maintained that a strong body is the best defense against capitalist aggression. In shape, out of shape, you've always preferred to rely on your wits.
The Samaran People's Republic? No, I should expect not. Why do you ask? They're quite the spectacle, as I understand. I've heard they make the people in the front rows wear plastic sheets. On account of the blood, you see.
You flip back to the front of the magazine. The table of contents unfolds before you. It takes a moment, but gradually it dawns on you that Kunst und Kultur must mean arts and culture. Obviously, because it's cool to drop random phrases in foreign languages. It evokes a sense of recognition and fellowship among those privileged enough to understand. As you leaf through this section, you come across several reviews of recent radio plays, as well as a brief artist spotlight featuring a local artist identified only as CS. The main feature, though, is a long essay titled Tip Top Tournée, a critical Mazovian perspective. The Tip Top Tournée is an inter-Isolari racing series, mostly known for its high speeds, ludicrous sponsorship deals, and high death toll. In Revachol, it's held quadrennially on the prestigious Zero Carousel racing circuit. This so-called artist spotlight is really just a brief Q&A, made all the briefer by the subject's evident hostility to her interviewer. You think you're settling in for a relaxing recap of the most recent season, maybe sprinkled with some nice anecdotes about a few of the more colorful drivers. Instead, you find yourself skimming a 10,000-word feature about all the politically problematic aspects of Tip Top Tournée. Where to even start? For one, there's the crass commercialism of its sponsorships, and then there's the practically criminal emphasis on deadly motor crashes. So, all of it, basically. Under capitalism, the article says, every pursuit has its price. Every pleasure, even one as elemental as the joy of racing others around a track, is reduced to an advertising opportunity. Thus, the so-called tournée becomes a competition between increasingly meaningless brand signifiers. Your discount laundry detergent racing against a pack of Astra cigarettes, or even a Fritta. And that precisely is what's problematic about it. Were it not for the promise of random, spectacular violence, audiences would quickly lose interest. At the end of the day, it's the destruction of these 750,000 real races that you're really watching for. Sure, you think that, but subconsciously, it's the visions of brand names being engulfed in flames that you crave. This flimsy magazine is right. Deep down, you know the only true stakes are life and glory, or death by fiery dismemberment. That's because you haven't been reading critically. But don't worry. The whole point of these sorts of articles is to let someone else read critically for you.
I can safely say the thought had never crossed my mind, Detective. You can still like it, Detective. Just because a couple of fools wrote an article doesn't mean it's true. If I had to wager, I'd say they've never even seen the inside of a motor, much less a motor race. I take whatever they write with a large grain of salt.
You flip back to the front of the magazine. The table of contents unfolds before you. Unsurprisingly, much of this section is taken up with articles declaring unqualified support for the dock workers' strike. You skim the headlines. Paint the harbor red and white. Martinez tames the wild pines. A city in revolt. First we take Martinez, then we take La Delta. Finally, there's a brief article by the writer, G. Martin, accusing the owner of the Cape Side apartments of illegally attempting to evict certain communist tenants simply for not having paid their rent. One of the editorials proclaims that the more the forces of reaction attempt to crush the body, the more defiant the spirit of communism becomes. Sounds like their bodies just haven't been crushed enough yet. You flip back to the front of the magazine. The table of contents unfolds before you. Guillaume Le Million. Bad news. Guillaume Le Million did not become a cop. In '38, he went on a tour to the Sinyao province in Safre, where he died of autoerotic asphyxiation. His body was found hanging from a decorative dragon tree in his junior suite amid drug paraphernalia, unwholesome objects, and the Sylvia Trainer single, Wonderland, skipping in the background. And yes, you can take this as a metaphor for Revachol in the 30s, and also as a warning. A rusting control panel with several knobs. 2 buttons marked Marche and Arrête are faded with use. It seems to control the large crane above. A container is attached to its hook block. Allumer on, éteindre off. With a loud grind, the crane shifts overhead, moving a massive metal container through the air. With a surprisingly quiet thunk, the crane places the container down. This crane was built with a purpose, which has now been fulfilled. To move this container. Who can say? All you know is, it's special.
I can't see how that was worth the ruckus, except for seeing the crane in action, which I admit was satisfying.
This is the night watchman's booth. The name on the door reads, René Arnaud.
If you must. But please hurry, we are pretty easy to spot up here.
Nothing incriminating catches your eye. The cabinets are clean and their sparse contents meticulously organized. There's a framed photograph on the table. Looks like the inhabitant is rather pedantic when it comes to order. It's a black and white photo of a young couple out in a street fair. The man is young, dark-skinned, and dressed in a Royal Carabinieri uniform. The girl is smiling playfully at the camera. The young man looks happy as well. He's about to smile. Right after this moment, frozen in time. You're sure of that?
Why did you take that? Fine. But let's move. I don't want to be seen snooping around here.
All those empty wine bottles and cigarette butts on the ground. Someone partied really, really hard here. Well, they went through 6 bottles of potent Pilsner, 3 bottles of Commodore Red, and almost 4 packs of cigarettes. It must have been pretty hard.
Well, yes, I think we can say with relative confidence that it was you. Yes, this scene isn't exactly ripping with joy. Let's just move on.